All right, people, welcome to another edition of the New Breed Podcast, the world's best brutal new death, hard slam, grind, thrash, core metal show. I am one half of your hosting duo, Jay Horskow. With me, I have my partner in crime, the notorious TIM, Tim Anderson Jr., who I have not recently sent a text message drunkenly saying, I love you. Tim, how's it going?
Yo. It's funny because we can say the best of the brutal new blah blah. I can't remember that, but we are that because no one else does that.
No one else does it. No one else does it. Keep your niches. We're gonna get crazy. So, what are we doing this episode, folks? So we started in a previous episode. We did Tim and I's top 20 nu metal albums. We did a number 20 to number 11. So now we're gonna take it down to the finals. We're gonna go number 10 to number 1. But before we go in, Tim, I have a question for you because I actually took some notes last time. Was there any albums that I mentioned that after the episode you went back and listened to?
Yeah, but I didn't really take notes after. I just was like, oh yeah, this record is really good. But I can't remember which ones. That's the problem because I listen to so much music.
Right.
It gets lost in the shuffle for me.
Right.
Like I listened to like 8 records just today. You know
I don't know how you do it, man. I don't know how you keep up. You need Apple Music to tell you what you listen to, otherwise you get kind of lost.
Oh, what is it? Last FM?
Yes.
Greatest fucking thing ever.
Oh, it is. It is the Scrabble report is worth paying for. It's
amazing.
So after the last episode, there were a couple that you turned me on to. So I went back and I listened to the second Mudvayne album.
There you go.
And I don't remember what your exact feedback was, but I will give you, it is definitely more mature. It is definitely a little bit more polished. The song structure is more, shows a maturity, right? A development of skill.
Absolutely.
It's less all over the place in LD50. And I love LD50, but it's definitely a more coherent, I guess, album. I listened to that. I went back and listened to I think you had The Height of Callousness on your butt. I went back and listened to that. And I forgot how good they were musically. So I liked the first album. It was one of my near misses, but on The Height of Callousness, they upped their songwriting. It got less formulaic and it was tighter. And I don't know if it was Garth, but they definitely got tighter. And the third album that I went back and listened to after you mentioned it was Machine by Static X. And I actually really enjoyed it because I never really got into them, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, they're a band where a lot of people either take it or leave it. And that was one of the bands, like I said before on here, when we first started doing the show, I went back and I was like, let me go back to Static X, and I just forgot how fucking much I love that band. Because it's like there's a lot of bands that we talk about that I just completely forgot about.
There's so much music. It's hard, right? Like think about what we go through when we do our year-end list. You got to go through your Last FM, Bandcamp, Spotify, Apple Music, and it's like shit. I forgot where I even. I forgot some of the stuff. Yeah.
You got to check your YouTube bookmarks
right?
Because there's a lot of records that don't go on streaming, It's a lot. I mean, especially, when you do a podcast, another one for 6 years, like I just constantly am listening to music and I still do because I'm just so used to it.
Yeah. All right. So let's get started. So we're going to start with number 10. I think I went first last time. So Tim, you get to go first. What is your number 10 pick?
Number 10 for me is Moto Grader's self-titled record.
Really?
I think that I honestly, all right. So for me, 10 to 1 from 20 to 11, it was just kind of a mixed bag. I didn't have them in a certain order, but my 10 to 1 is my solid 10 to 1. This is where I rank them.
Okay.
The Moto Grader for me would be a little lower, but there's just so many records that I go back and I'm like, oh wait, it's not better than that. But that Moto Grader record, a lot of people always say, oh, I hate all the noise tracks. I'm like, yeah, but you can take them out of there on the streaming and you'll just get the 14-song record.
That's a long record, dude.
I think it's a long record. It's 12 or 14
with 2 or 3 segues, 2 or 3 transitions.
Okay. So what they do is every other song is just a noise track. And it's the title of the next song spelt backwards.
I've never listened to this album, so I'm gonna have to check this one out.
Dude,
okay,
it's so fucking good.
Didn't they invent their own instrument, a Moto Grader or something?
I think we did talk about that before.
I think so. I don't know. It's too many beers in.
But that
was Ian
record,
Moody in the band,
yes,
Tim, with this album? Okay.
He was, and his vocals are the sound exactly the same as Five Finger, but there's just something to this record where it's just so cohesively good. The songs are super fucking catchy, but they're not super like polished. They're just riff, verse, chorus, bridge, verse, and it's just perfection to me. Every song is fucking good on this record.
I gotta check it
I
out.
mean,
All
there's
right,
a lot of hits on this record. I mean, it's his vocals are really good on this record. The lyrics are good. I mean, it's just a late stage nu metal classic, in my opinion.
So what let me ask you, Tim, what about this album put it into the top 10 as opposed to the bottom 10 for you?
You mean from 20 to 11?
Yeah, like when you went, why is it in your top 10 and not in your bottom 10?
Because it's a record that I didn't stop listening to when I got more into the death metal, and it was always it was a record that when I used to bartend, we had this jukebox, and me being the manager, I could have the dude put in records that weren't in there. So I was just like, Motograter, God forbid, blah, blah, like we had the most metal jukebox ever because every week you would get new slots put in for how much money you spend. I don't know if people are familiar with touch tunes, but it goes by how much money is spent in the bar. And then it will open up your bandwidth for you. And then if you're connected to the internet, you can stream it instead. That's basically where the streaming comes from and how they make money and that's basically how touch tunes makes money for artists as well now. They stream it, so basically they get a cut of that as well. So the more money your bar spends, the more slots and bandwidth and shit you get. So I would always just, you only got 10 songs this week. It must have been slow. Yeah. But here, you know what? Put this Motograter record in here. Okay, there you go. It's fucking great, dude.
That's awesome.
It's a record that I got a lot of people into, from that bar. But it's like I said, it's a record I never stopped listening to because I just think it's that good.
Okay. All right.
I mean, the first Five Finger record has good songs on it, but they're not a band that I can get into. They're too
no interest.
Yeah, they're just every record they just get more corny to me. But I get it, man. They're making a shit boatloads of money.
They found their niche. They found their audience. They give the audience what they want. Absolutely. Again, that's a recipe for success. It's a recipe for success.
But yeah, I think if you listen to the Motograter record, I think you would be like, wow, this is surprisingly really good. So I think if there's a record you listen to this week, it's that one.
All right. Well, I'm going to reserve what you come up with next on your list. All right. So that's tomorrow's listen. So for me, number 10, rocketed into number 10, a band I had never listened to until we started doing this show, Florida's own Crossbreed with Synthetic Division. So when this album comes out in 2001, I'm out of college. I'm in the apartment. Weekends are for drinking and partying. And I remember seeing the underline video on like Fuse or MTV2 or whatever it was. But there was also some other stuff playing. And at this point, my music tastes were changing because I discovered Poison the Well and all that metalcore stuff. And I was full into the Ferret, Trustkill, very distro, lumberjack distro metalcore. And I was kind of falling off on the nu metal thing. And I remember seeing the video with the glow in the dark tattoos and the jumpsuits and the guy with the keyboard. And I'm like, I'm not really interested. Then we interviewed James and Ian. And then I went back and checked it out. Like I gave it a good listen. And I was like, holy shit, this is good, really good. Yeah. I mean, shout out to those guys. I was having trouble picking between this and New Slave Nation, because I think that's fucking awesome. Like you hear the Orgy, you hear the KMFDM, you hear all the Marilyn Manson, all the stuff in that. But I think this album is great. It is surprisingly heavy for a nu metal record. It's definitely in that Down the Sun, Dryco Logic vein, right? Where Slipknot comes out and then also nu metal makes a turn and it gets really heavy. But if you've never heard this album, go back and take a listen. It is really, really good. Definitely one of the better industrial flavored nu metal bands.
Near miss for me. Incredible record.
Yeah.
I think that they're, like we said, they're way above their time.
Yes, they were way ahead of.
That's what
people weren't ready. Yeah. They weren't ready for what they were playing.
I just wish that they got bigger. Talking to them dudes, like you said, put it into a whole new perspective for them. Super cool dudes. Super good band. I'm looking forward to their new stuff.
Yeah. So am I. I hope they tour. I hope they come through Philly. I really do.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but that end. Is there another one? No, that's the only one that made my list from this show specifically, where I was like, Yeah, they definitely earned a spot in the pantheon. We'll give them that.
Yeah, for me that was Blind Spot. Never heard the record. Incredible record.
Yeah.
Even the new stuff's so good.
Yeah, good stuff.
That new 3-song EP is really
really
good.
Really
man.
good. That's I guess if you got it, you got it. So what do you got, Tim, for number 9?
Number 9 is Nonpoint with Recoil.
I was waiting to hear Nonpoint, but I was curious to see what album you took.
Yeah. Like if you listen to the interview with the singer Elias, I explain on there why I like that record so much. I listened to it literally for 2 years straight, every fucking day. I never miss it. It's another record I never stopped listening to. It's another record I put in the jukebox. It's just every song on that record's good. Even the one with the Spanish things that I can't understand, I still rock that song. It's just the record is perfection to me. It's just so well written. It makes you bob your head every song. It makes you sing along. That's the kind of records that I like, man. And that's going to be in my list. That's going to be basically what I'm going to say every time. It's because these are the records that stick with me throughout my whole life. Because all these records on here are ones I never stop listening to. So,
yeah, same for me. I'm looking at this list, and none of these have ever come out of the rotation.
Yeah, but yeah. If you're not familiar with Nonpoint, or you're only familiar with them as the new stuff they're doing, go back and listen to Development and Recoil. I think you'd be very super surprised on how good they are.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. All right, that was Tim's number 9. For my number 9, super obscure. But again, I have never stopped listening to this album. I'm going to give you hints, Tim. You tell me if you know who it is. Ozfest 98, Providence, Rhode Island.
I should know this.
Kurt Vonnegut character.
Fucking goddamn it. Who is it?
I know you know it. I know you know
do. You're going to say it.
Kilgore.
Yeah.
Kilgore and A Search for Reason.
As soon as you said Rhode Island, I was like, oh yeah, I know what it is, but it was just on the,
Yeah, there's too much music knowledge up there. I actually fucking love this album. I really love this album. It's one of the rare nu metal bands that actually took a hint from grunge. There's some grunge influence. They opened the main stage because it was a rotational main stage opener when I saw Ozfest that year. They opened the main stage, and it was at Ozfest 97 in Camden, or 98, whatever that was. They used to be Kilgore Smudge. They put out a first album. They were big all over WSOU. The lead singer has got to be like 6'4", 6'5". He's a giant.
He's big, yeah.
But his vocals are he's got soul. He's kind of like a more raspier Weiland, right? Maybe more. He
sounds like a Southern dude from fucking Rhode Island.
when I said this to Tim, when I said the new EP that came out in 2018, which by the way is fantastic, everybody check it out. Tim, I said, Tim, where do you think they're from? And he went, oh, they're from Texas. I said, no, dude, they're from Rhode Island. He's like, fucking Rhode Island. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I was fucking blown away. I'm like, what? But they sound like they're Florida, Texas, fucking Mississippi, something like that.
Yeah, because they've got some groove to what they do. Like their music has some groove.
Well, you nailed it. His voice is very soulful.
Yes.
So it sounds like it would be something. He sounds like a dude that would sing in fucking church choir. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, I love this album. I go back to it all the time. I think the first 5-6 songs just completely nail it out of the park. They did an EP in 2017, Someday This War Is Going to End, which is fantastic. If you look up live sets from them, they sound just as good live as they do on recording. And this is one of those obscure bands that I'll tell people, if you're looking for nu metal that's just a little bit different, that never really got the eyes that it deserved because it was a little bit left to center, check out Kilgore. I think you'd really like it. And again, their newest EP shows that they've still got some talent.
Yeah, you absolutely fucking nailed that right there. If you want a record that was nu metal but never got the accolades for it, or people kind of lumped it into like a more hard rock genre, this is the record right here.
Yeah. Yeah,
you're completely
fantastic.
Right with that.
He could have covered for Weiland after Weiland died. They could have recruited him.
Yeah.
And he probably could have done it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good stuff. So check them out. They still have a merch store. I bought a t-shirt. It's too fucking cold to wear that t-shirts right now, but yep, bought a t-shirt. So check them out. I think if you're listening to the sound of my voice, you might enjoy it. Tim, number 8, what do you got?
Taproot Gift.
Okay. So I had that at 18 and you have it at 8. So let me start with why Gift and not the second album? Was it Poem? Why not?
Yeah.
Why this one?
Because that episode didn't come out yet. Oh, well, you know
Mm.
what? It'll
It's
be
this
out
week.
before this.
It's this
oh
week,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Go on there and you can get a really good explanation for it. I'll leave it to there because I want people, or well, we can't say it because it's already gonna be out. But if you listen to that episode, you'll know exactly why I think that record is as good as it is. A lot of copycats, and for a good reason.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because what's his name? What's he call himself? Scissors?
Yeah, Steven Richards. Yeah.
Yeah. He just had the unique voice back then, and I think a lot of people hear that and they want to portray it as their own. And I just think it's kind of like Chino, where you can't do it. Like you have to have serious pipes to go from screaming like that to singing in that monotone voice. You just have to have good pipes. You got to be in key to do it. I just think the talent in that record is just A plus talent wise. I mean, the riffing, as it gets a little stale because every song kind of has the same structure, but I think the riffing in there is just, it was way ahead. To me, it just was, man.
Yeah, I went back. Oddly enough, I went back and listened to that album earlier this week. This morning, I was watching their set from Ozfest 2001, and yeah, they nail it. They nail it. They were a unique band, but you're right. Everybody turned around and ripped them off.
Yeah,
but for good reason, because they had some skill.
Yeah, and that's the word I was looking for. It's very unique. It's it's a record where people listen to it and they go, "Wow, man!" It's kind of like when Converge puts a new record out and everybody goes, "Fuck." I think we need to sound like that now, or Meshuggah. Like, fuck.
What do you think about the new Meshuggah album? On the fence? I'm on the fence.
Yeah.
Like there's the intro, the opening track is great.
Yeah.
But there's some other stuff where I'm like, kind of getting a little long in the tooth. Where is the kind of weird scronkiness?
Yeah, it's very
they get in the lane.
Fence.
Yeah, they get in the lane and they don't really deviate. Yeah.
It's lazy sounding, actually. It's very lazy record.
Yeah, it's a good adjective. It's a good adjective. They went with what they know. Yeah, no, I can see that. But
everybody's going to copy it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's the benefit of what they do.
And that's what I was trying to say about Taproot. I think after that, everybody tried to copy it a lot. Some people could do it. Some people just really couldn't.
Yeah, some people pulled it off and others just totally butchered it.
It's a very memorable record. The lyric wise, you want to sing every fucking song of it.
Yes, I will agree to that 100%. 100%.
Yeah. So, but yeah, all right. If you listen to the episode of the deep dive we did, you'll understand even more. So, or if you haven't heard it yet and you're hearing this, go back and listen to it.
Yeah, that was a fun episode. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
David was really fun to have on. And he knows his stuff, so it was a good conversation. Look forward to having him on again. Okay, so where do we go? So number 8 for me. So my number 8 is a band that I will fight to the death in defense of the statement that they are not a nu metal band. However, this is pretty much a nu metal album. 1998, www.pitchshifter.com from Pitch Shifter. They are an industrial band, full stop. I don't want to hear it. If you listen to Desensitized, if you listen to Virus, if you listen to Submit, Infotainment, they are a industrial band. They got to this album. They recruited, I forget the guitarist. What did he play for? He played for somebody. The former guy who played for the Prodigy.
Oh, yeah.
So that kind of explains, where they went to a 5-piece. They were more a live, organic type band. And they released this album, which I'll go out on a limb and say there is maybe one bad song out of 13 tracks. Maybe. And by bad, I mean, I skip it because look, it's I think In It, number 10.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, look at the first 5. First 6, right? Microwaved, Secondhand, Genius, Civilized, Subject to Status, What You See Is What You Get. And then the best song on the album, which they close with still, Please Sir, Disposable, A Better Lie, What's in It for Me, In It, I Don't Like It. The drumming is great. It definitely fits when you learn that songs from this album ended up on Twisted Metal or some other racing video games. You're like, yeah, I can definitely see that. But I love these guys. I loved Infotainment. I think it was a wonderfully aggressive industrial metal album that just got terribly overlooked. Still not on streaming, by the way. You need to find a copy or have a copy.
Soul Seek.
Yeah, Soul Seek.
Yeah.
The one after this was what was it? Deviant. Not bad. They definitely leaned into the more new pop sensibility, right? Like more rock, less.
I think Deviant's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, it is good. But this album, I have listened to Please Sir so many times. I could drum that entire album right now if I just close my eyes. Like
I love
Microwave
song.
Oh yeah, and here's Jay with the fucking bizarre trivia. They played with Limp Bizkit, Spring Break, MTV Spring Break, 1999. They played Microwave and Genius. Limp Bizkit played Counterfeit and Faith. And they were on like the MTV fashion show where they had models walking around in fucking swimsuits.
It's amazing. I got to go back and check that out.
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. And everybody in the audience is kind of like, what is going on right here? But yeah, I love this album. I still listen to it religiously, and I think it's great. It's a great jumping off point to get into their catalog. You could then go forward into Deviant and their later stuff, and you could then go backward into Infotainment and Desensitized, and you'd still enjoy it.
Oh, yeah. I did a Numetal episode for my metal show a long time ago, and I played Microwaved. That's a great track.
Oh, it's great. It's great. But yeah, shout out to these guys. They just did a book. I think J.S. Clayton, the singer, is working on another book. They do all sorts of like goofy stuff. They just did a Live in Tokyo vinyl. So they're pretty active with their fans. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
So yeah, good for them if they're listening. Probably not, but come on the show. All right, Tim, what do you got for number 7?
Nothing Face with Violence.
Good pick.
Perfect record.
Good pick.
It's just a perfect record.
Good.
Like pick. I said, go back and listen to our deep dive. I mean, Matt Holt's fucking lyrics, man, just so fucking good.
The lyrics, the guitar work, the drumming, like it's a great album.
No one wrote better lyrics than him. Like they're the kind of lyrics where you have to read them and you just think like, wow, this dude is either really fucking twisted. He's either really twisted or he's really angry or he's just really had a bad childhood, but he just
his lyrics are dark.
The way that he just interpreted stuff was just perfect to me, man. Like even if you go to eat like songs like Ether and shit, which are not on this record, but like just the lyrics in them on Skeletons, like a lot of them songs are just super fucking dark and just bleak. But like Jay said, you cannot deny the guitar work on this record. The drumming is perfect.
They're another band that, I mean, and that was when we started doing the show, Tim, and I look back at some of the new metal that we cover, there were a lot of bands that were very unique and very, very talented. And I guess because the labels and the fans and the taste changed and everybody kind of got burnt out, they never got their minute in the sun. And these guys, Nothing Face definitely deserved a minute in the sun. They really did.
Yeah. Even an audio guide before this record is just as fucking good, man.
Yeah. Well, so I like an audio. That was an everyday guide, audio guide to atrocity or some shit like that.
An audio guide to everyday atrocity or something. Yeah.
It was good. This is a step, right? Like this is just as good, but they definitely stepped up an entire level. And it's
atrocity is super, super dark though.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, even Pacifier is dark, but I mean, I maybe it's the production, maybe the practice. Just when you go back and listen to audio guide, it's good, but then you listen to Violence and you're like, holy shit, like is this the same band? Because they took a jump in talent, in composability for how they write their songs. Like it's definitely something, a trend in the right direction.
I think Bleeder and Make Your Own Bones are two of the greatest songs ever written. Just banger right in a row to start the record out. Two of my favorite all-time songs.
And this is another one of those albums where if I can't find something to listen to, I go back and I put it on.
Absolutely. And it's good every time.
I never heard it until we did the deep dive. So yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, amazing record. If you do not know Nothing Face, change that ASAP. Turn this episode off and go listen to it. Seriously, man.
Stop listening.
Like, I don't want you to stop listening, but do it for this record.
Right. No, it's fantastic. What was it? Number 7? Okay, so my number 7, 2001, New York, Hudson Valley, Dry Kill Logic.
Yeah.
Darker Side of Nonsense.
I knew this was
so.
coming.
I've told this story. This album, I had no idea who this band was. This is back in the day where you used to go to the store and you'd buy the album because it was on the label, right? I think we talked about this, Tim. Name an album that you bought because it was on a label you liked that you were like, oh my God, this is terrible.
Oh, it was terrible? Oh,
yeah.
Dude, I just sold this CD too. What was it? Green cover with the money on it. Oh, what the fuck is it? I forget what it is.
Green cover.
Is it 1 Minute Silence? I just sold this record not too long ago.
Somebody's yelling at their head unit right now. Like, how do you not remember that album? Yeah.
It's not the dope one with the money on it. I love that record. There's another record that has a similar look to it. And why do I feel like it's 1 Minute Silence or something?
Might be. Mine was Floodgate, which was on Roadrunner. It was terrible. But anyway, sorry, Ryan Rainbow. I know you're not listening. This I saw on a Best Buy end cap. It was a Roadrunner band. The fucking cover is disgusting. I picked it up and this is heavy. All the songs move. They're all in like the 3-minute range, which is the sweet spot. Yeah. And it was, Nightmare, Feel the Break, Pain, Nothing, Asphalt, Wait, Better Man Than Me, Rot, Take a Breath with track 13, Give Up, Give and Lie Down, Strength on My Own, Good Night, like, and then the hidden track. Like, it's a long album, but it's a good album. And I really, I sad to say, I don't think I ever saw these guys. They opened a Fear Factory show, but I got there and missed them. But they were, they're again, one of those late stage nu metal heavy bands that the second album is great. I went back and finally listened to that. We got to deep dive that eventually.
Great.
Paper Tiger is a fucking monster song. Like it should have been enormous. Back when MTV still played videos. Did you see that, Elon? I'm going to buy MTV and we're going to start playing videos again. But yeah, this is a great album. If you like well-crafted 3-minute songs, close enough to radio, that just a little bit more aggressive, then it's probably palatable. Check these guys out. Shout out to Holiday Kirk, who did the deep dive with us. Holiday Kirk, you are completely wrong. Pretty Hate Machine is not a fucking nu metal record. But yeah, I love this album. Love it.
Yeah, if you like music that makes you drum along, even if you're not a drummer, there's a record for you. If you want to air guitar shit, here you go. If you want a record where you can sing it and you're in the privacy of your own home and think you're a good singer, this is the record, man.
Yeah, definitely is.
Although I think Vengeance is a better record, and I think Dead Dreaming's a better record. It's solid, but I think Vengeance was just kill. That's a killer record, man. Dead Dreaming was in my top 20, obviously, from last episode, but Vengeance just it's like 6-7 songs just great in a row, man.
And I picked up this album, and right after I picked it up, I went through a brutal breakup. So kind of resonates, as lame as that sounds. But what do you got, Tim, for number? What do we got? Number 6. What do you got for number 6?
Seven Dust with their self-titled record.
The self-titled you went with. Okay. So why the self-titled?
It's a perfect record, man.
It's great. It's a great album, but I'm curious to see why you didn't go with Home or one of the later ones. Why this one?
Well, you'll see that as the episode goes.
Okay.
Yeah. But dude, songs like Terminator and Bitch and Black, just wow, man. I remember hearing this record when it first came out, and I was fucking blown away.
He's got a fucking awesome voice.
He's got
an awesome voice.
You know that picture of that little meme where there's like the dude's head just smoking?
Yep.
That was me as a teenager when this record came out. I kind of think this record might have did me in for nu metal, where I think like I went full tilt into it. Because this record, man, it's a nu metal record, but it's so much everything else too.
They could have changed one or two things and been a radio rock band. They could have changed one or two things and been a late stage grunge band, right? Like
exactly.
The guitarists write good songs. Morgan Rose is a great drummer,
phenomenal drummer,
and Lejeune can sing. So they basically could have picked any one of a handful of lanes, and they went this way. Morgan
is still one of my favorite drummers. What is this, 25 years later? He's still one of my favorite drummers. The dude's groove is it's hard to replicate, man. Like there's a lot of drumming where I have an E-kit. So like I just put my headphones on, put the music through Bluetooth, and I drum along to it. And I always go back to this record in home because the grooves on there. If you want to learn drum parts, man, play along to these records because there's parts in there where you're like, wait a minute, how the fuck did he do that? It just makes you a better drummer, man. And I just love bands that I just love records where you can put it on 25 years later and you're just like just as good as when I first heard it, man. This is one of them records. It's like you said, this record could have been a grunge record. It could have been a straight radio rock record, but they knew how to merge all them things. And I think that is very, very fucking, it's a very big accolade for me when you can do that. And especially when you can make it be just as good 25 years later. Like there's just not a bad song on this record. I just think that a lot of bands need to listen to that record and see where
it's a masterclass in how to write good songs.
Exactly. I think people need to listen to that and home and see where masterclass writing comes from because that's where it comes from for me.
Yeah.
Yep. Are they out of Atlanta?
I think so. Yeah.
It's just crazy that bands like that from Atlanta, of all places, were coming out with records that good because Atlanta's not a place where you really hear of a lot of good. Big bands.
I think isn't Mastodon from the South?
I hate
and
Mastodon.
I think the first album I like Remission and what's the one with Moby Dick that kind of blew up?
I forget
the second one. It's a good album to listen to. Like it's a good album. And you want to talk about a band that has mastered their own aesthetics, the font and the design of all the albums. Aesthetically, they're a beautiful band. But the album that was written around Moby Dick, not Remission, the one afterwards, is a fucking awesome album. Like
kind of reminds me of like High on Fire. Like they're that band that just has their own lane.
Yes. And shout out to my buddy Ira. Rob, you know where you are. When we were at the TLA and he was heckling the High on Fire merch guy saying that the Red Chord should have played over them at the show we were at. It was fucking great.
He's not wrong.
No, he's not wrong. All right. So what do we got? So, okay. So my number 6, number 6 from California, Crazy Town, 1999, The Gift of Game.
Wow.
So you're looking at me like, why would you pick this album? So if you picture in your mind, nu metal, picture the late 90s, picture LA. You put those 3 things in a blender and you get Crazy Town. That's what you get. I think this is a fucking fantastic album. And I'm saying that, I'm laughing, but I say that with a straight face. The first couple songs, Toxic, Think Fast, Dark Side. Then you go into Black Cloud with Jay Gordon from Orgy. Butterfly, which is the Red Hot Chili Pepper sample, right? Which I could live my entire life and never hear that fucking song again, right? Yep. Only When I'm Drunk, Hollywood Babylon. The only song where it kind of falls apart is Players, Only Love You When You're Playing It. The chick's vocals don't work. But then they have B-Boy 2000 with KRS-One. And it's fucking great. It's fucking great. I'm sorry. So I love this album. I have never listened to Dark Horse. We're going to do a deep dive with that with Jordan eventually. But I think this album is the epitome of late 90s LA nu metal.
I used to hate this record. I listened to it recently. It's so fucking catchy. I hate saying it. It's so fucking catchy.
Yes, you can't help but nod your head. You can't help but tap your foot.
You can't, dude. Like, I think a lot of people, and me as well, I think a lot of people hear Butterfly and they're just like garbage. But if you really go back and listen to the record, it's so fucking catchy.
Yes. Yeah, and
I'll admit it, man.
The one guy, Epic, Brett Mazer, his dad is a famous producer. Everybody knows Shifty Shellshock. He Shellshock. Geez, Jay, have another beer. Starry-Eyed Surprise he did with Fatboy Slim is still a fucking amazing song. I think it's with Fatboy Slim or was it Moby? I don't know. But yeah, this album is catchy as hell. Put it in. You're going to tap your foot and smile and listen. Someday we'll do either a deep dive on this or an in defense of, because I know a lot of people don't really like it. I think it's great.
Yeah, I listened to this dude, Kid Chris, who used to fuck with that George Shifty so bad. He got his number when he was on Celebrity Rehab, and he just used to fuck with him. And the dude would get so mad. I have to pull some up for you. It's great.
But yeah, that's my pick. Number 6 is definitely Crazy Town. Forget what you heard. Go give it a listen. You might actually enjoy it.
Yeah. Take it from me. I hate everything, and it's so catchy. So fucking
All right.
catchy.
All right. We're hitting the final stretch here. Top 5. So what is your number 5 pick?
Well, here you go. Seven Dust with Home.
Back to back Seven Dust, huh?
Back to back. A fucking master. Home is a masterpiece. That's all I can say. It's a fucking masterpiece. It's just, I thought the self-titled one blew me away. When this record came out, I was just like, how do you make a record that's better than that one? How do you do it? Just 2 in a row. I'll even go ahead and tell you the first one's a masterpiece as well. Just the songwriting.
You picked the second one over the first one. Wow. Okay.
Dude, Home is that record means so much to me, man. I can listen to that record 4 times in a row and I will not get sick of it to this day. That's how good I think that record is. And as the record goes, it just gets better and better and better. Like tracks like Waffle and oh my God, dude. Like the second half of that record, the second half of that record is just as good as the first half, if not better. It should. All I can say, it's a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah, I gotta go. Let me write that down because that's on the list for tomorrow too. So I got Moto Grader and I got
Seven Dust Home.
Seven Dust Home.
Just a masterpiece, man. It's just, every fucking song is just. It's just as good as the one that just passed. It's hard to it's one of them things that's so good I can't even describe how good it is. You know what I'm saying?
All right, strong words. Strong words. Okay.
And that's why I want to get fucking someone from that band on that was on that record, so I could tell them. Like when we had Elias on, what did the first thing we saw? Bro, thank you so much. That record's fucking.
That album's fucking great. Yeah.
I'll fanboy fucking Lejeune. I'll fanboy the shit out of him for that record because that record's perfection.
Okay. All right. Back to back Seven Dust. Surprise picks there. Surprise picks. Now I'm trying to figure out what you got for your top 3, and I'm kind of drawing a blank 4 here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So my number 5, the band we just did the deep dive. We just released the deep dive on Incubus Science, 1997. They went on to not be a nu metal band, but they toured and played with all nu metal bands when they started. Go listen to our deep dive we did with Mitchell. I was tuned up and we had a really good time that episode.
Yeah, we did.
But it opens with a didgeridoo and it closes with them impersonating Mr. Miyagi and the Karate Kid reference. It's fucking great. Nebula, Certain Shade of Green. Oh, my
Vitamin. So good.
Yeah, it's one of those albums where I listen to the whole thing, and as soon as that last track comes on, I go right back to the beginning.
Yeah, that's
another. I love it.
Another record way ahead of its time.
Yes. They could have went again, another band. They could have went in 16 different directions. They could have laid into the funk stuff. They could have laid into the nu metal. They could have leaned into the Certain Shade of Green radio rock. And that's kind of where they went. I think Make Yourself is a fantastic album. Like it is. There is not one bad song on that album. Every single one of those could have been singles and videos. And that's kind of what blew them up. But I always go back to Science and I'm like, man, I fucking love this album.
I always give Incubus the thing where I think the singer was one of them dudes that the chicks loved. So they automatically get big. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? There's certain bands, and I don't care what anyone says, there's certain bands where the singer is just one of them dudes where all the chicks love. And that's why they blow up. The sex appeal wins them over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because listen, people, I'm fucking going to be 39 years old. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Sex sells everything.
Sex absolutely sells. Everything in life is about sex. And, I'm going to quote here when it quotes Kevin Spacey, which is kind of terrible. Everything in life is about sex except sex. Sex is about power.
Yeah. Why do you think OnlyFans is so big? Because sex and nudity sells.
Yeah, but sorry, people, it does. Has no. I don't make any money off that thing. But whatever. All right. So any other thoughts on Seven Dust? Oh wait, no. I just did my 5. So now we're at your 4, right?
Yeah.
All right. Give me a hint, Tim.
Alaska.
Oh, 36 Crazy Fists.
Yes, 36
Wait a minute. Is it their first album or their second?
No, it's their third. A Snow-Capped Romance.
Their third one. Okay, why number 3?
Dude, I love the first 2 records. I think they're pretty much nu metal. If you want to hear nu metal, go listen to the first 2 of them. But the third record, the Roadrunner record, The production on that record is one of my favorites ever. I don't know who did that. Please look that up for me. Who did that record?
Which one? The
A
newest one?
Snow-Capped
The
Romance?
Snow-Capped Romance, yeah.
So I'm going to start with that. The recording on that record is fucking perfect. I mean, just whoever mixed that record is give yourself a pat on the back, man, because I mean, it's probably somebody that I know of that's done a lot of records that I like, but dude, just the guitar tone in that record for that time period, perfect.
So let's hear. The producer of Snow-Capped Romance was James Paul Wisner and Steve Holt.
Oh, Holt from the band. Okay. Who what else records did that dude do? Not Holt, the other one. Because Holt is the guitar player.
Dashboard Confessional, As Friends Rust.
Really?
Yep.
That's it?
That's what it says. James Paul Wisner, who produced albums for bands like Dashboard Confessional and As Friends Rust.
Does it say who mixed the record?
The mix was...
Is it Ulrich?
I guess production... Andy Sneap. So there you go.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
who
that
touched
explains it.
everything in that. There was a 10-year bracket where he touched everything.
Okay, so Andy Sneap, kids, he probably has done a lot of your favorite records.
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact if you listen to metal and new metal, he's done a lot of your favorite records. I'm not going to go off the head of what he has done, but yeah, he's a big time dude back then. Yep. So that explains everything right now, because that record it's produced perfectly. It's mixed perfectly. The drumming is just, the snare tone is perfect. The guitar tone's perfect. The bass tone's perfect. Brock's fucking vocals, man, you just can't fuck with them vocals. They're very, very unique. And I think that's why a lot of people don't like that band. But the music, oh man, dude.
Yeah.
Listen to that record, Jay. Seriously.
Yep, this is on the list now.
Man.
Yep, 36 Crazy Fist.
I mean, just the single on that record was just how that record is not a monster and how they did not blow up after this record is just fucking beyond me, man.
At this point, Tim, at the third album point, were they out of Alaska? Were they in California by that point?
They moved to Portland, I think.
Oh yeah, Portland, right. I knew they moved down the West Coast. Yeah.
Yeah, they went out of Alaska. I think it was Washington, maybe. Something like that. If you're familiar with 12 Tribes, they always had the 12 Tribes singer on their records. I don't know why. I don't know where that connection came from. I'm assuming maybe from touring or something. I know they were on Ferret together after, but you know, it's one of them records where when I tell people like that I like it, they're like, "Ooh, really? You like that band?" I'm like, "How do you not like this band?" Like, if you like metalcore, you get the metalcore vibes. If you like new metal, you get the new vibes. It's just perfect. It's just expertly written music, man. Holt's a fucking amazing guitar player. And they're incredible live, dude. I know Brock is out of the band and pisses me off, man, because you just can't replace him. And I think that's why they haven't put a record out since, you know, the last
It's hard.
One,
it's
hard to replace. Like, you can't replace Chino. You can't replace, you know, if the dude in Nothing Face left, you can't replace him.
Yeah, there are certain people that they cannot be replaced. They can't.
This is a band you cannot replicate the sound. It's sorry, you just can't do it. And they are all my favorite bands where you just can't replicate them. You can't replicate Seven Dust. Who sounds like Seven Dust? Nobody.
Yep.
Nobody sounds like them.
Yep.
Sorry, nobody does, man. And this is one of them bands to me that you just can't replicate it. You can't replicate Masterpiece Records. This is another masterpiece, man.
Yeah, his vocals were so completely unique. The vibrato and how they sounded. You can't. He's too unique to the point where they almost paint themselves in a corner where the band is more reliant on him than anything.
Yeah, yeah, you nailed it right there.
Yeah,
there's nothing else I can really say, dude.
All right. Tim's number 4. All right, so my number 4 is I'm going to argue it's a new metal album from a non-new metal band. Again, we've got a bit of a strain of a streak going here. Digimortal by Fear Factory.
Okay. Amazing record.
If you go put this album on now, you will tap your foot the entire time. The staccato riffing is unbelievable. Dino has been interviewed. Burton has been interviewed. Christian has been interviewed, where they all said the label wanted them to lean into more new metal. They said, well, fuck you. We can do it better than everybody else. And here we go. Yep. The first couple songs are What Will Become Damaged, Digimortal, No One, Linchpin, right? That's the first 5. Fantastic, right? The song with Be Real, Yeah, at this point, guest tracks are kind of cheesy. It's a good song. It's a
Dude.
good song, and Raymond's drumming is spectacularly spot on. It's a fantastic album. They're not a new metal band, but this was their most new album at the behest of the label. And if you look at what it got bookended by, before it was Obsolete, and afterwards was Archetype, right?
No, Digimortal was after Obsolete.
It was before Digimortal's in the middle. Obsolete was before it.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot of singing, a lot of some slower stuff. I think Burton, when they give him space to have his voice ring, it just fucking rings. But you have Obsolete, Digimortal, and then Archetype, which is them getting back to this is them off Roadrunner. I think this was E1. This is them getting heavier.
This is Dino out of the band. This is what's his name?
Byron Stroud.
No, this is the bass player playing guitar.
Yeah, Christian. And then
Christian play guitar.
Gene Hoglan, right, was the drummer. They brought in the guy from Death, I think.
No, Raymond was on.
Or was it still Raymond? Okay, it was still Raymond.
Hoglan was on Mechanize.
Okay. But yeah, this is a straight up, hey, we're gonna write a new metal record. Here you go. Thank you, Mr. Mrs. Label people.
Yeah.
But it's a great album.
It's Acres catchy. Of Skin is so fucking good.
It's just a catchy record.
I love Acres of Skin. That's a fucking perfect song, dude.
Yeah, it's now I'm gonna listen to it tomorrow.
Listen, I get why people call this band a new metal band. I get it, man, but they're not. If you call Demanufacture is not a new metal record.
No.
Obsolete is not a fucking new metal record.
Nope.
Maybe the first two songs give you them vibes, but that record as it goes on is just straight fucking. It's Demanufacture with better production and just more mature songwriting.
Yes, this album they specifically state they set out to write a new metal album. So that's what you got.
Yeah. Dino said it. We're not a new metal band. We don't want to be a new metal band. You want us to be? We're gonna write it better than anyone ever does it, and they did because no one could do double bass like that. Nobody.
There's a quote here where the CMJ called it demented disco, and then somebody else called it cybercore, digitized, overdubbed metal with crunchy machine-like production. That's it.
Yeah, who produced that record? Was that? I think Sneap might have. No, I don't think
Reese. Fear Factory and Reese.
Oh, okay. Reese, yeah. Does it say who mixed it?
And then let's see here. Mixing. Mike Plotnikoff did mixing. And a whole bunch of people I've never heard of did.
He's probably a Roadrunner dude.
Yeah. I love this album. They're not a new metal band. It's a great fucking album. I'm sorry.
It is a great record. I'll let it go, but like, I'll let you have it. But I mean, hey, I don't care, dude, because I love that record. I think
it's fun. They admit we wrote a new metal record because that's what the label wanted, and we wanted to prove that we could do better than everybody else.
I don't even know how I don't have my Fear Factory tattoo yet. That's how much I love that band.
Yeah. It's kind of weird that you don't have one. Kind of weird. All right, top three, Tim. Number 3 for you is
Mushroom Head with Save Your Sorrow.
Okay.
Here is a band that people fucking shit on constantly. Yes, I get it. They're generic, but they're the best generic band ever. There's just something about fucking Mushroom Head that I love, man. The songs just stay with you. They're fun. They just, it's hard to explain, man. Like a lot of every time, 9 out of 10 times when I say I love this band, people are like, how do you listen to fucking death metal and black metal, but you love Mushroom Head? I'm like, what does it matter? It's just, it's a very dark record. It's very memorable for me. Mushroom Head is just one of the bands that means a lot for me with my good friends, man. That's why I hold this band to the esteem I do. It's just, it means a lot to me in different ways that I don't want to explain. It's one of them bands. People know what I'm talking about. There's bands that people just attach to with, emotions and memories. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is that band for me.
Yeah, there are certain music has that wonderful effect where when you listen to songs or certain albums, it automatically transports you to a time and a place.
Absolutely.
That you heard it. Yeah.
When I first started listening to Mushroom Head, it was the best years of my life. That's why I love this band so much. And it's them years of my life that I'll never be able to replicate that I think about all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. No, I get it. Whenever Not necessarily a huge fan, but every time I hear POD, I think of Alive and when I got my first tattoo.
There you
I
go.
was hung the fuck over, and that was the song that was playing at all the bars we were going to. It was all over MTV. So Sunny Sandoval, I'm unfortunately like inextricably linked to that dude. Okay. Number 3 for me. I want to take a guess, Tim. You know my taste. We've been doing this for a while. Who hasn't shown up yet?
I hate when I get put on the spot because then my mind goes blank. I can't think.
All right. So my number 3 is Ultra Spank. Self-titled.
Oh, okay.
I love this album. I go back and forth between all the songs sound the same, all the songs are completely different. How can you think that? But it is a long album. Again, 12 tracks. I'm always been kind of wary of a band where every single song has a one-word title.
Yeah.
The first band I remember that being pointed out to me was Gravity Kills, which is a good album, but
what record?
The first one.
What is it? Self-titled?
I think it is self-titled.
That's a
but
great record.
It's a great record, but every single song has a one-word title, and that to me is kind of like, did you run out of ideas? Now you got me thinking. Gravity Kills.
That would be me though, because I can't fucking
self-titled 96 TVT Records.
Does not surprise me that came out on TVT.
Not at all. It's a great album. But yeah, I love this Ultra Spank album. I love they're not really industrial or electronic, but they add those pieces of it. I think they're great. I love everything that Pete and Neil have gone on to do. I mean, they went from this to Low Pro, from Low Pro to Life on Planet 9. That last EP they did is absolutely beautiful. Please, if you're listening, come on the show, guys. We really want to talk. But yeah, I think this album is great. I saw them on that Ozfest where, the Numetal coming out party, and find me a bad song. Find me a bad song. I mean, they kind of got, this band should have been bigger. They got screwed by the label. The guy who signed them got fired right after they released their album. I think they had a song end up on like a video game track or something, and that actually gave them more PR, generated some sales. So they put out the second album, and the second album I haven't listened to, so I don't even remember what it sounds like, but I know it went over like a dud, and that was basically the end of them. Progress.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest fan of this band. I do think they're very talented though, especially the Life on Planet 9 shit. That shit's incredible.
Oh, it's unreal. It's unreal. But if you like your new metal with a little bit of industrial, with some electronic stuff in it, but not too heavy, and you like a totally unique vocalist, right? Because his vocals, he stands out. He stands out more than anything. Check these guys out. I love this album, and you can tell I'm a little bit predictable because all my biggest stuff is all from the late 90s, because it's kind of when I was into this shit.
No, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
All right, that was my number 3. So now, Tim, you're in your runner-up spot. Who is number 2?
I'll give you a hint. Ohio.
Wait, it can't be Slipknot.
Nope.
Is it Mushroom Head again?
Nope.
No. Why am I thinking? I think of Ohio, and I think of Integrity. I think of Ringworm. I think of.
Come on, you're real close. Guitar player played in Ringworm. It was on your list. It was your number 20.
Chimera.
Yep.
Which one? The first one?
Pass Out of Existence, man.
All right.
Another perfect record.
Yeah, it's
one of the heaviest
fantastic
records ever. It's Rob Arnold and fucking what's his name just were killing it back then, man. I forget the old guitar player's name all the time. I'm very sorry. I would love to talk to that dude. He's a tattoo artist now. I forget. He's been on Rob's channel recently too, and they did some playthroughs. Fantastic fucking record. Every song's good. It's a little too long, but I don't really mind it. I think Rizzo is one of the best songs ever. Let It. What's the first track called?
Let Go.
Let Go. One of my favorite songs ever. Just severed. So the songs, dude. I think you could compare this record to like a Dry Kill Logic record in the point where like it bridges metalcore, but it's still a new metal record. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think this record Way ahead of its time, man. Another, I have to keep saying it. I just have to because it just was, man. It was just a lot of bands, a lot of people say they hate this band too, and then they come back to me a while later. They're like, "Yo, you know what band I listen to? I listen to Chimera." And they're like, "That fucking band is so good." I'm like, "I fucking told you this."
Yeah, no shit.
Just like the mosh parts in this record, man. Holy fuck.
Yeah,
dude.
it's a long album, but it's a good album.
The electronics are just perfectly hidden in the background. Not hidden, they're just perfectly placed. A special band to me, man. Another band I can't believe I don't have a tattoo of that C on me somewhere.
Yeah, right. Or like the mace on the cover of the first album. You get that down your forearm. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably will at some point. That and I'll probably do that in the Fear Factory at the same time. But just
get him as sideburns. Get him tattooed as sideburns.
Yeah,
his face tats is the thing these days.
Yeah, right. Just another perfect record.
Yeah.
Let's get fucking Rob on the podcast. Let's go, Rob.
Anybody who knows Rob Arnold, send the dude this way. I think David knows him. David, come on, help us out.
Let's do this, man.
All right.
So let's get the singer on too. Why am I forgetting names?
Mark Hunter, who just covered for Randy for Lamb of God.
Oh yeah.
Which is kind of cool. That's really kind of cool. Hey, our singer is sick, but in the meantime, we're gonna get this all-star cast to come in and sing our songs for us. And he did a fucking good job.
You know who would actually be really cool to talk to is Spakuza, because he did the electronic stuff. He did all the merch for them. He was the backbone of that band too. People don't realize that. Like he did all the graphics.
He did all the managerial type stuff. Yeah, yeah.
That's I would love to talk to him too. It's like just being the dude in the background that did some of the backing vocals and just scratches. I think that's cool, man.
Yeah, it's definitely cool. All right, so Tim's number 2, "Pass Out of Existence" by Chimera. So my number 2, which should be no surprise if you've been listening to this show since the beginning, Snot and Get Some.
There you go.
This is my number 2.
I thought this was going to be your number 1.
No, my number 1's going to surprise everybody. I love this album still. Whatever I said in the deep dive holds true. It's a punk rock record masquerading in the nu metal scene. Shout out to John, who was an awesome guest.
Absolutely. One of my favorites.
Yeah, this is not a bad album at all. There is not one bad song. It flows from beginning to end. And when you get to the end, you want to turn around and start it all over again.
Absolutely.
This is a drinking, partying, it's sunny outside, let's sit out on the porch and get drunk album. And
at 2 p.m. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Literally. Put a keg college style, put a keg on the front lawn at 1:00 and let's party. Absolutely. That is this album. But yeah, I love these guys. Glad to say I saw them a bazillion times. And yeah, they're just fucking great. They're just great.
And by the end of the record, you're in a wife beater and sandals.
with I'm in slides with my socks on, pulled up, and then Dickies down below the knee. Yeah.
Shout out to look John. Like an essay out of fucking California after this record.
I look like I do. Shout out to John. He was an awesome guest. Go back and check out that episode. He was one of the coolest people we've had a chance to talk to.
Definitely, man.
All right,
very
Tim.
much enjoyed that one.
Here we go. Number 1. So what is your top nu metal album, not one of the mainstream bands?
Do you have any guesses?
Well, we've done Mushroom Head. We've done Seven Dust. We've done...
You're never going to guess it.
No, it's either going to be The Burning Red or it's going to be something by Static X.
Nope.
All right.
My number 1 record in nu metal, which is also in my top 5 records of all time, is Mushroom Head with 13. The top 5 record for me. Top fucking 5 in all genres. Not a bad song. A masterpiece, man. Just so fucking good. Just go. Just listen to it. Honestly, man, it doesn't really occur to me to be a nu metal record. It's more of just a hard rock record, honestly. But it gets lumped into the nu metal genre. It's actually let me rephrase that. Some of the songs are definitely nu metal. Like Sun Doesn't Rise is one of the best songs ever. It's probably their biggest song for a reason. But a lot of the later songs on this record are just straight up rock. with just great vocal melodies, great vocal attack. I mean, just that record, man. It was, I think, on Universal. So I think it was their first, maybe their first major label record. Look, you have your computer up?
Yes.
Go to Mushroom
yes.
Head 13. I'm pretty sure it was Universal because they got the Roadrunner deal, which they declined, and then Slipknot basically took it. And then I think they sat on, was it Koch for a little bit? I can't remember.
Mushroom Head 13 was Universal.
I thought so. So it's their first major label record. I should know this, being that
reached number 40 on the Billboard 200, 400,000 copies worldwide.
Dude,
it's
it was
their
a
second major label distro.
Really?
Yeah. So maybe the earlier one. What was the one right before that?
Was XX, but that was like more. That wasn't really a record. That had like a lot of not remixes, but it's weird that with that record. Maybe I'm saying it wrong in the wrong order. I know this was on Universal though.
Well, it's they said this was the second major label distributed. So this was their major label debut, I think.
Yeah.
But they probably had, it was either M3 or Super Buick or something was distributed through a major.
Okay. What year was this again? Was it 2003?
This was 2003. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, pretty much on the end of Numetal right there.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's a Numetal record. Obviously, I have it as my number one Numetal record, but there's a lot of songs that are just straight up hard rock, and it's just fun songs. And like I said, it's hard to explain. It just means a lot to me. This record means a lot to me on an emotional side. And I mean, if you go to the Chimera record, that doesn't have really emotional, it doesn't really attract me emotionally, but this record and Save Your Sorrow does. Just a lot of shit that I went through and a lot of good times and a lot of bad times. And it's one of my favorite bands of all time. It's funny because my last three picks are all Ohio.
That is kind of wild. Oh, yes, you're right. Double X was their first major label release, and that's a compilation, which was all the stuff that was on both M3 and Super.
Yeah. I knew it was something.
You're
like
right.
that.
You're right.
And then 13 is their debut. Yeah.
Yeah, their full brand new material debut.
Perfect record, man. Seriously, Jay, listen to this. Put it down. Listen to this record, man. I think you'll really enjoy it. It's one of them records that you listen to at your windows down in the summer and you're blasting it, and it's good, man. I just have this emotional attachment to it that'll never go away. I just listened to it last night because it's one of them records. I'm like, what should I listen to? 13, put it on.
Oh, I have nothing else. I have no idea what I want to listen to because I have so much there. Let me go to my givens. Yep.
Let me go to my top 5 record for me.
I'm the same way. Okay. All right. So Tim's number one pick is Mushroom Head 13. Tim, want to guess at what mine is?
Fuck, I thought it was Snot, man.
I'll be surprised if you get this, but not surprised.
Give me a hint.
D. Snyder.
What?
The Strange Land soundtrack
is your number one?
Is my number one. So here's why.
Wow.
Here's why.
I mean, I was going to say Strange Land, but I didn't think you would pick a compilation record as your number one.
And here's why. What better way to cover all the bases than a soundtrack, which is a compilation, which has everybody and their fucking mother on it, right? So yeah, there's an intro track with D. Snyder. Seven Dust is the first full song. Then you have Megadeth, Pantera, and Anthrax in their closest to new metal albums, right? This is Megadeth around Risk. This is Anthrax when they have John Bush from Armored Saint. Yeah. So this is Stomp 442. This is Volume 8, The Threat is Real. This is Pantera heading towards the end, which is Reinventing the Steel, which is not new metal, but as close as they're going to get, right? So you have all the old heads in the top 3 songs. Then you have Snot's best song in Absent. You have Day in the Life with Street Justice, last thing they did.
Now I know why you like this.
You have Coal Chamber with Not Living. You have Bile, the New York industrial band who I got to see live. They were fucking creepy. With In League, Marilyn Manson, Head PE, Soulfly, Kid Rock, System of a Down with Marmalade, right? One of their better B-side unreleased tracks. Then you got like the Clay People, Nashville Pussy, Crisis, right? The New York band Crisis. The chick has asthma and can barely sing, right? And then it closes with Twisted Sister. But if you're telling me, give me an album that is a microcosm of everything nu metal, this is what I would tell you. I would say just download this, listen to this straight through, 18 tracks. You will get a sense of what the music scene was like in the late 90s, early aughts.
No, you nailed it, Roland. There. Now I get it. You nailed it. It's a great movie too.
Yeah, it's actually not bad. It holds up pretty well. I mean, I don't, it's funny when I think of this movie, I think of Tattooed the Earth in the interview we did with Scott, where they were ahead of where the world was going and the world just wasn't ready for it. But yeah.
This is a movie you find in the $5 bin in some weird store.
Yes. I remember rushing out to get this from Blockbuster when it finally went to video. And then all my roommates were like, what is this? What is this? This is like a shitty horror movie. I'm like, dude, do you not hear the music? Do you not hear the music?
Great. Yeah, it's great. I remember listening to the background of this movie getting tattooed one night, all drunk. And then we put it on after as we're sitting there done, because my uncle used to live with me for a while, so he would just tattoo me all the time. And I remember this being on in the background. And after, I was like, we should watch that. He's like, yeah, it was actually looked pretty cool in the background. We watched it and we were like, yeah, this movie rules.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. It was just like Tattooed the Earth in the sense that it was too early for its time. But when you look at the bands that were on that, it was a healthy smattering of the elder statesmen of nu metal, the bands that were before nu metal that were kind of dipping their toe into the water. You had bands like Marilyn Manson, Kid Rock, who were going off and doing their own thing. You had stalwarts in bands like Snot and bands like Soulfly and bands like Head PE, System of a Down. And then you had some of the interesting stuff, I mean, Bile is an interesting band. I still think their first EP, Suck Pump, and then Techno Horror was their first album. Really enjoyable. Marilyn Manson, enjoyable. Nashville Pussy is not really my thing, but it's not terrible. But yeah, this is, if you're going to tell me, give me your number one nu metal album, then you can turn to anybody and say, listen to this, and you'll get the gist. What was the music was like. But here you go. There it is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I agree now. I just I can't believe you put a compilation as your favorite. It's great.
I was bouncing around. It was going to be Snot, and then it was going to be Ultra Spank, and then it was going to be Pitch Shifter. And I kept going, and I went, wait a minute. Strangeland has all the bands I loved from that era, all doing B-sides and rarities, plus Day in the Life, plus Bile, plus Marilyn Manson. I'm like, I can't skip it. Got to go with it.
I thought 110% it was Snot. I already know what its top is. So,
well, I'm glad. I am surprised, but glad to disappoint you.
Yeah. So let's do near misses. One for me is Professional Murder Music's self-titled record. Not really a nu metal record, but it gets lumped in there, so I was going to put it in. That's a fucking amazing record.
Okay. Strictly Diesel for me.
Yeah. Okay.
Coal Chambers self-titled.
Yep.
I have nothing from Nonpoint. I had nothing from Seven Dust.
Orgy's Opticon.
Orgy, right?
Almost
the first Orgy album could have been thrown in there.
Chamber Music for me, almost in there. I almost wanted to put in Beautiful Stories for Ugly Children by Mushroomhead, but I couldn't have three Mushroomhead records.
Nah,
but that's a fucking fantastic record as well. Yeah, dude. I kind of almost put Devil Driver's first record as a nu metal record.
I can see that. It's kind of close.
I mean, it's definitely a metal record, but I kind of feel like it definitely toes the nu metal line, if you ask me. Element 80s self-titled record almost hit it for me. That's a fucking great record. If you've never heard that band, really, really groovy, good stuff. Endo almost in there for me.
Yep. I was a near miss for me. Surprisingly, was the first Primer 55 album.
Oh wow.
Laced by Reveille. That was a near miss. Earth Tone 9 was a near miss for me. I kind of warred with do I include this or not? But that album is great. Yeah.
This was fun, man.
Yeah, it kind of made you think, right? You had to kind of go off and put your thoughts together, especially with the fact that we delimited for none of the bands that would eat up all the oxygen at the time.
Yeah. Let's explain that again for people listening. Maybe people didn't listen to the first one and they just stumbled across this at first. So me and Jay had a rule. You couldn't have Korn, Limp Bizkit, Slipknot, and who
Linkin
else?
Park.
Linkin Park. Yeah, you couldn't have them on there because honestly, if you're a nu metal fan, your top 10 is probably going to be Korn's self-titled or Korn's new or Life's Peachy. There's going to be Slipknot in there. There's going to be Limp Bizkit in there. We decided we're not putting them in there. And honestly, to tell you the truth, if we would have allowed it, I would have had Korn's self-titled because you just had that record is just monumental.
Right. I mean, considering our age, that would have been on there. $3 Bill, y'all would have been on there. Iowa or the Slipknot self-titled would have been on there. Meteora would have been on there, and then you lose 4 spots. And everybody picks those bands because they're the most well-known.
Yeah, Hybrid Theory is one of the best records ever written. It would have been on there, but let's make it to where it's not too obvious because I think people are going to listen to this and be like, "Oh, I already know what there is," but it's not. We made the rule; we're not going to do it that way.
Yeah.
And so upon doing this episode, we're also going to start doing, since we talk about everything, we're going to do top 20 metalcore records from 1995 to 2005. We're going to do that.
It's tough, dude. It's
very tough, man.
It's tough because you start splitting hairs. Well, is this a metalcore record or is this a hardcore record?
Exactly.
And then is this a hardcore record or is this a grindy metalcore record? Yeah, I think we're going to be a little bit all over the place with this. It's going to lead to some interesting conversation if that's not a metalcore record. What did you pick? Because there's some of my stuff I could argue it goes either way.
Yeah, let's do top 20 death metal. We're going to do it all, man. Because we want to pull in the crowds, man.
Death metal is definitely going to be hard. It's going to be all DSI.
Also, excuse me. Also, we're going to do our top 50 nu metal songs, and we're not keeping out Korn and all them in that one.
That is going to be an interesting one. You know what? We'll actually, if you start sending me a list, I'll build the playlists in Spotify and we can go off that. That'll be a fun conversation.
Yeah, we don't have to keep that from each other, but this I wanted to keep from each other because I wanted to be surprised. But yeah, we're going to do a top 50 nu metal songs each. So we're going to go down. We're going to make it. We're not going to talk about it for 10 minutes each. We'll just go number 50, blah, 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 blah. Number 49. We'll just do it that way. We'll make it a 2-hour episode, cut it into 2. But we're going to do that because I think that there's always songs that are really good, but they're not your favorite records. You know what I mean?
Right. Some of the stuff that some of our favorite Fear Factory stuff is not on that album, right? Incubus, Chimera, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah, we're good. We have a lot of top lists coming up things. I think people will, get some stuff out of there. They'll be like, oh, you know what? I never heard this. So.
We should probably do like a top 10 obscure album. So nothing we've touched here, nothing that were the big 4. What are the other things that you like that are kind of obscure? Getting into that weird, like No One, Scrape, Reveille, late stage nu metal stuff. See what we come up with.
Definitely.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
All right.
People, listen, you have any ideas for top lists? Let us know. Maybe
please do. Please do. Let us know. Send us show ideas. We had Dave Bramley reached out. He wants to talk about nu metal in wrestling and pop culture from the early aughts, which will be a fun conversation because Fred Durst, the Undertaker used to come out to Roland, people. The Undertaker used to come out to Roland. Talk about mind-blowing. All right, so find us on Instagram and on Twitter at newbreed_podcast. Email us at newbreedpodcast@gmail.com. Please tell us what you like, what you don't like. Find us on the Nu Metal r/Nu Metal Reddit. Find us on our Facebook group. We do have a Spotify playlist. All that stuff is out there. So we appreciate all of you tuning in. We hope you give us some feedback and let you know what you like so we know how to tailor some stuff going forward. And hell, we'll even get you on the show. So until next time, this is the New Breed saying cheers.
Later.